Welcome back to Daytime Ottawa Comics. You must have grown up reading comics, Kurt.
I read a lot of Archie comics.
Me too.
But I was a Spider-Man guy all the way. As a matter of fact,
No way. Are you kidding me?
Hang on a sec.
Look at this.
Hang on a sec.
Look.
Spider-Man wallets, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, we're going to introduce you to something even better than Spider-Man.
Yes.
Because our next guest has an amazing comic that he has released digitally. We are joined by Allan. He is a local writer and artist. Welcome to the show. It's great to have you here.
Hey, Vaughn.
And this is really geared, Vaughn, towards lovers of comic books in adults.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit. What's the premise of Metal Gods? Exactly?
Okay, so it's for older readers. It's not some of the stuff I've done in the past is for kids. So this one is definitely for older readers. It's what I call a metal-themed comic. It's not a heavy metal comic per se, but it's a comic it's an action-adventure story with a couple, Nick and Luella, who discover that Nick's parents seem to be mixed into some type of cult or what have you. So the initial part of the story is them trying to figure out what his parents are up to, and how to get them out of it if it's,
Right. Is this an original story?
Yeah.
You dreamed this one up?
Yep.
Because you do wear all hats when it comes to this publication, right?
Yes, I do. Yeah. So I write, I draw, I do all the coloring, everything.
Just list off, if you wouldn't mind, Vaughn, the things you have to do to produce this sort of material, and you're one man doing it.
Have you got an hour?
Yeah, it's wow. I write, so it means you come up with the ideas. You do, I actually work off sort of a loose outline rather than a full script. But there's a process I go through. My wife's a professional editor, so she actually helps me quite a bit on that.
Right.
There's a lot of design work because I have to figure out what the characters look like and what have you, location design and whatnot. So that's sort of kind of weird film production side of it. And you have to do it really fast because you don't have a lot of time with the way the production schedule works. Then I do all the layouts, I do the penciling, I letter the damn thing, I do all the final inking, and I do all the coloring as well. So
I can't keep up.
Yeah.
It's a big undertaking,
Yeah.
there's no question.
Yeah.
And this is a digital comic book,
Yes.
is it not?
Yeah, so it's kind of weird because I work in like this weird fusion of, I do a lot of penciling traditionally on paper and then I scan them in. A lot of the rest of the work is done digitally on like a Wacom tablet that I have, which is really neat. And that keeps me going, it keeps me faster, and that's a huge thing. And then in terms of distribution, I've had past work that's been distributed in print, but this time I've gone fully digital, so people can read it on like iPads and tablets and iPhones
with
and what
full
have
color
you. With full, yeah.
Did you do that for a better reach?
Yeah, that was the big thing. Is what I was finding is I was having trouble is I've had a lot of really supportive retailers, not enough of them. So it's a matter of, you spend a lot of time working on a story and then you get X number of sales, and the sales were never where I was hoping they would be. And and they come and go, and then you're getting into other things like there's library sales, so it's problematic. And then the other thing that became a big issue is color. Color is still very expensive for print, and I was like, if I can sidestep that, and get...
Aren't you producing a more vibrant sort of color and picture through the internet than you would on paper?
Yeah, well, I mean, this is what gets tricky, is print is CMYK. Digital is RGB. That's what all our monitors look like, TVs and what have you.
Yes, just do this.
So the big thing is there's a larger spectrum of color that you can use. But at the same time, it's a sort of a catch-22 is I'd like to see it in print eventually, so the colors can't be so off the spectrum that, what looks like this in RGB on your screen looks really different in print. You want something close. So I actually had to figure out ways of how do you make the colors true in both so that they look good in print and on screen.
We were showing off our Spider-Man wallets.
Yes.
We grew up obviously loving Spider-Man comics and watching the cartoon on What's it like are you competing against these? Like, what's your opinion on mainstream comics?
Mainstream okay. There's a lot of superhero stuff I like. There's a lot of mainstream comics I like. But Peter Parker, launched in the early 60s?
Yes.
He's still Spider-Man. He's still a college-age, little older guy, sometimes married, sometimes they do deals with the devil to get rid of his marriage.
True.
I'm not kidding. The big thing about corporate properties like this is that they're properties now, and there's a constancy with them that they never want them to change too much.
Right.
So that doesn't mean you can't get an awesome, unbelievable, terrific story. You can, and there's some amazingly talented people working. But usually what it also means is that they're going to hit the reset button done, and they're going to go back, and they'll go back to a sort of a status quo. So you'll get these weird changes, like recently in Marvel and Spider-Man, Dr. Octopus was in Spidey's body. And that was the big thing, is they actually they had Dr. Octopus take over. Peter Parker was kind of like a ghost, and that's all resolved, and Peter Parker is now back in Spidey's body, and it's
so your approach is it a completely different approach where your characters will age and you will, if somebody dies off, they die off, they're not resurrected?
That's the idea. So I really love Marvel Comics, particularly in the 1960s when Stan Lee, Jack Kirby, Steve Ditko, and guys like that, guys primarily, very few women working in comics at the time, but these characters changed. So you saw Peter Parker as a high school kid, then going into college. You saw almost all the characters aging in real time, and the stories would refer to real time. Not anymore. You
are the co-recipient of the 2014 Corel Endowment for the Arts Award. Congratulations, 4 medal.
Did you hear how his voice went up there?
Yeah. Awesome. And it's available online. How do people get it?
The biggest digital distributor in the world right now is called Comixology, comixology.com. They're actually bought by Amazon, which shows you how big they've gotten. Metal Gods is with them. So if you punch in Metal Gods in a Google search, you're going to find it pretty quick.
And easy to order and get.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, I'm selling them for 99 cents. So.
Sadly, we don't have time to talk to Vaughn about the Tony Dungy, Monty Kiffin, Bud Carson 4-3 over
because you're a huge football
defense. Right? You love that defense. We don't have time.
We'll have you back.
Sure.
Maybe as we close in on the NFL season, the three of us can do a round table talking football. What do you think?
Good.
All right.
I like
good.
it. I like it a lot.
That'd be awesome.
Thanks, Vaughn.
I'm bringing you in,
luck.
buddy. Okay. I mean it. Don't go away. More daytime coming on. I think we're talking pasties.
Pasties next?
Yeah, I think it's pasties next. It's a delicious pie. We'll tell you more about it with Matt Grant right after this.